Hey, make a historical case for the donation of Constantine.
No,
Okay.
I will not.
Un- okay, great. Next question. What's your favorite what's your favorite genre of biblical literature?
Uh, so narrative, but even that's a little bit too broad of a category. I mean, First and Second Samuel are my favorite books in the Bible. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Give me
epic narrative.
okay, give me like your elevator pitch on why I should do like an extreme deep dive into Samuel.
Let's see here. Three things. First of all, it is a microcosm of all of Scripture. So you have the need for God's word. You have uh, sin and repentance. You have the Lord's authority, God's rule, and you have uh, a kingdom established and kingdoms falling. Okay, so it's a microcosm of the whole story. Um, it also is a macrocosm of the human heart. So in the books of First and Second Samuel, you can understand your condition. And this is my pitch for why you read the Old Testament primarily. Um, you hear it's of course Heilsgeschichte, but it's also diagnostic. In all of those Old Testament saints, you see yourself, right? And in all of the Old Testament villains, you see yourself. So that's two things. The third thing is that it is just incredibly engaging and very, very well written. It's so well crafted.
I'm looking forward to reading it now. I is your favorite commentary on it Peter Lightheart's?
No, honestly, I mean he's been very helpful to me in identifying some things, but my joy in reading it has just come from doing it, from teaching it again and again and again. I return to it all the time. So um, asking those questions, asking those James Jordan kind of questions, like where have you heard this before, that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, that's the joy that comes out of it for me.
Isn't that most sermon prep just making intertextual connections and then like commenting on what's going on here?
I noticed that I have to commend you. I mean, I've said this to you before, and it was true before, but I'm going to say it to you again. Now, true yet again. You only get better at preaching, and it is impressive. If hey, all of you listeners out there, two jobs for you today. One of them is we are at 92 YouTube subscribers. We need to get to 101 in order to fulfill our New Year's resolution. So help us out, share, like, comment, all of that helps. But then your second assignment is go listen to Pastor Josh Reber's preaching. Go find his sermons. You did this thing with salt and light yesterday, and it was so good, and it was just what you described, intertextual. You illuminated for me the deal with salt. I couldn't listen to the second half very well because I was feeding a baby, but the first half concerning salt was just phenomenal. So
Well,
way to go.
thank you, brother. That means a lot from you because you're quite the preacher yourself. So
Thanks.
yeah. Well, I mean, so one thing you taught me was I remember. Well, so you remember the first time we ever met?
Yes, you came to my church in order to preach for me. No, you were visiting because you were gonna preach for me. Yeah.
Yeah, precisely. So you asked me to preach for you before you ever met me, which I thought, well, that's a great leap of faith. and, and then we were living at my mother-in-law's at the time because we were house shopping, and so we came up because I was in Hutchinson, so not too far away, and I was just blown away. It's like this guy. I agree with Adam Kuntz. It's like the eye contact, thinking in thoughts, as our beloved Professor Fakencher would say, and like having like knowing what you're saying, inwardly digesting it, and then just like the comfort that came from that. That really inspired me. So good, good,
Hey,
good job.
thanks, Josh. You know what would be a kind of a nice theme for thinking about this podcast also, in addition to like pastors reading the Bible, is we really you listen to other preachers, like you listen to podcasts or recordings of other
Yeah, not
preachers.
as not as much as I would like, but from time to
Okay.
time, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a handful that are absolute, like when the sermon pops up Sunday or the day after, I'm going to listen to it. Especially because it's nice when I've just preached on that text. It's just nice to hear. It's nice to hear. and it keeps me from getting kind of hemmed in my own style of preaching. I should do more too. But what would be really interesting would be to hear from people what preachers they very much value and why. You know, like
Mhm.
what is it that they think that they find worth listening to again and again and again.
That's good. Yeah. So you listened to David Appold, is that right?
Yeah,
And
he's one of my go-tos. Yep. Yeah. And you know, he's a guy with whom I've often talked about the text beforehand. And so it's always interesting to see how, you know, see whether we ended up preaching the same sermon or not. Usually we haven't, but sometimes we have.
yeah, that's always fun. That's why I'm nervous about ever doing like a lectionary podcast because I would feel like I would have to come up with something different to say on Sunday morning in case people were listening, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous because I could just say the same thing. But
And then the repetition is actually really, really helpful to people. That's something I struggle with all the time is um I really need to say things more times, more frequently. And, you know, because so for instance, I had a Bible study last Wednesday, and the question was about graven images as well as the Sabbath day. And I had some research to do about like why the Reformed don't think the same way about those commandments that we do. But the starting place was the threefold division of the law, you know, civil, civic, ceremonial, and moral law. And in my mind, that's like such old territory. Like,
Mhm.
you know, isn't that all something that we all know, like so basically that it doesn't really, it's, oh, people will be bored if I rehearse that. But of course, I'm not bored when I rehearse it. It's still interesting. It's still really, really important. And so rehearsing it again and again is not a bad thing.
Every time I bring up that threefold distinction in any kind of Bible class, like I see a light bulb go off in at least one person because it
Yeah.
helps
Yeah.
explain so many things, like the dietary laws and the Seventh Day Adventist misunderstanding of it. Like it's so helpful. So you're
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
So okay, narrative, favorite genre. One thing I've been running with, I've been saying this for years, and maybe it's cliche by now. I think I coined this. Maybe I didn't. So you can help me. Is that the Bible um, doesn't defy genre, but it defines it.
That's good. I like it. Go on. Say more.
Yeah. So um, this is kind of going with like Jordan Peterson has said, like the Bible's not a book; it's a library, which is also a very good way of looking at it because you have an assortment of 66 books and all sorts of different genres. No, I don't want to weasel my way out because some people will say, well, you have to read it according to the genre, which is absolutely true. But what people sometimes do then is they say, so Genesis isn't history. So
Right.
they'll say like the Bible's not a science textbook or something like that. And I kind of understand what they're saying, but I'm totally reactive against it. And I want to say, nope, actually the Bible is a science textbook in a sense. Like it's laying out true knowledge, right? We're getting the foundations of the universe. We're learning about the human body. What's more scientific than that? So you get all of the studies that are worth studying in the Bible, and that involves poetry. all, but I would wonder, percentage wise, what percentage of the Bible is poetry? Because all of the prophets, the
Hmm.
Psalms, the
Hmm.
Proverbs, right? So is it 50? Is it more than 50%? It's got to be.
Yeah. But yeah, you would. Yeah. I mean, Isaiah and Jeremiah occupy a significant percentage themselves, right? In the Psalms. Yeah. Yeah, I would think so.
Right, and then a historical book, but also this idea of a legal document,
Yeah.
which you see throughout. So the reason I bring it up is Genesis 46. We got another genealogy, and I
Right.
always make my Bible study do this whenever we read genealogies. I say, okay, everybody, you got to say it. You got to be enthusiastic about it. Say, yay! It's biblical genealogy time. And I always get groans, but it's like, come on.
This that you gave me so many things to think about there. So back up to the like the objection about Genesis being history, because you have a similar kind of objection to genealogies. For instance, specifically Genesis 46. It's like, you know, what kind of a genealogy is this? What is this? What is Moses attempting to do here? And the objection, like with Genesis, would be what, you know, Moses is not speaking in scientific categories with which we are familiar. Therefore, he must not be doing precise science. And there's a snobbery there, and a naivety that is just, it's really hard for us to overcome, because we imagine, I mean, in the air that we breathe, we imagine that there's one way of like, of proposing truth, right? And that one way is fact checkable, right? But there's more. There's more. That being said, there is a limit, and this is why I like what you said about how the Bible is genre defining, because there are really only so many different genres, and the Bible does span them all. Um, or at least that would be an interesting argument to test. I was thinking about how human ingenuity attempts to invent new genres of things. I remember this with music history. Like music history is fascinating, and you move from monophony, single melodies, to polyphony, to harmony, and then you end up with harmonic progressions that are really innovative, that would have been, that takes some getting used to, but that still function within the chromatic structure of Western music. But then you encounter a new period, very modern period, where the conventions are thrown out and things are done in sort of like a random way. So here's a sequence of all 12 notes on the keyboard, and the music consists of putting them together at different paces and with different spacing between them. And somehow that's music. And it's like, no, you have not succeeded in inventing a new genre. You have just reached the end. You've reached the end of music. And I think that the same thing could be said for literature. It's like the Bible really does get us there,
Yeah. You ever played around with arpeggiators or synthesizers, like a programmable music code kind of a thing?
Yeah, a little bit. Yes.
I I'm always having fun with it. Like you can just press a key and then you can set the sequence to randomize, and then you can set the octave range and stuff like that. And it's like it's exhaustive, but you're right, it's the end, but that's why it's exhaustive.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, uh, how, do you like math? Did you enjoy math?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you have these different kinds of numbers. You've got real numbers, of which there's two subsets, rational and irrational numbers, and and on down the line, whole numbers,
Which one are
integers, all of
you?
these things. I am a real number
Oh, okay.
with an imaginary component. um, but you can picture like the span from the number from 0 to 1, or let's make it more interesting. From 0 to 10, there's 10 integers there, right? 1 to 10, there's 10 integers. But within that span, there is an infinite number of both rational, irrational, and then of course real numbers. An infinite number, right? And that's what we're describing. That's what it means to be created.
Yeah. How many digits of pi do you have memorized?
3.14159. What is that? That's 5. That's all I've got.
Oh, come on, 3.14159265535.
Yeah. I never attempted. I never attempted. That was purely functional. It's like so I could do the math, and I never attempted to go further. But I do now know how to solve a Rubik's cube. Do you know how to solve
Oh,
a Rubik's cube? So we went to a trivia night at the local Lutheran school, and the prizes were Rubik's cubes. And so we went home with Rubik's cubes, and my kids started wanting to figure this out. And of course, with YouTube now, you can learn how to do anything. And so my kids learned how to solve these Rubik's cubes, and they got faster and faster at it. And they bought speed cubes, and now I'm like, my 13-year-old can solve a Rubik's cube in under 1 minute. And
wow.
when he did that, and my 10-year-old can solve a Rubik's cube. Right? When they did that, I was like, that's enough. I need to be. I'm 38 years old. I need to be able to solve a Rubik's cube.
Yeah, it's been a while. I did it in college. You go to YouTube and then you learn the algorithm. And it used to
Mhm.
be I had the algorithm in my notes app on my phone, and I'd
Yeah.
have to look at it. But then after a while, you get that algorithm down, and
Yeah.
it's fun. I never got that fast, but I could solve it without looking at my notes. But that times it's been a few years. Should we have a Rubik's cube competition? Hey, I got an email. Somebody asked me if we were this competitive in real life or if we were just bantering to entertain people.
Should we tell them about the sword of Gideon from
You
last year, a
go
year ago?
go ahead, make an oh no, not that, but make an
Oh,
advertisement
okay.
for the upcoming one.
Yeah. So promotional content will be forthcoming, but on May 1st and 2nd at Grace Lutheran Church in Little Rock, Arkansas, will be an edition of the Sword of Gideon men's retreat slash men's and boys retreat slash strength competition, which is equal parts Bible study and strength competition. 4 events, maybe 5, in the order of like flipping a tire, farmer's carry, you carry your own body weight. That's
Hmm.
which is much harder than what we did a year ago, Josh, just for what it's worth. And then, um, and then let's see what else. We're probably going to do a rowing event. So you got like
Oh.
a minute, 2 minutes. How many kilowatts can you produce? That'll be awesome.
Oh,
But then
dude,
it's also
you gotta hook it up to a light bulb. Did you ever play
yes,
Did you ever play Mario Party on the N64?
yes, yeah. There you go.
You remember that? You hop on the bike and then like you're
Mm-hmm.
you're rolling the thing like that, and you have blisters on your hand, and you can never do it fast enough. That's what it's got to be like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Hmm. Okay, I'll budget that in. Um, but anyways, yes. So the Bible study component is like, why does it matter that men do hard things and that they do them together?
Hmm.
And the Bible is full of illustrations of this. And so this is what, there's plenty of Bible study content. But then the thing that is, to me, now has been proven, the experiment has proven the hypothesis. Men grow in strength, spiritual strength, when they have an opportunity together under the direction of God's word to support and encourage and compete with each other. In fact, like to try to outdo one another in things is so wholesome for men when it is grounded in love. It's like you could try to outdo somebody and kill them, or you can try to outdo somebody and admire them when they beat you.
Yeah, I it reminds me of when people break records in professional sports, and the guy is rooting for the guy who's gonna break his record.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
That's more masculine. Okay,
Yeah, like when
Bible.
I flipped the tire 40 times and you did it 41, I was very happy for you.
That was that was great. We won't talk about the rest of the retreat. Although this man's a psycho, making us do a farmer's carry for 3 minutes. That
Yeah,
that is
forearms destroyed. That's what happens.
yep, absolutely. Okay, the Bible's a legal document. You see it with all the genealogies, and then the Gospels and the entire New Testament's a legal document, right? I mean, eyewitnesses. Think about it's the beginning of First John, right? He's talking about all the
Hmm.
senses we saw, we heard, we touched, all these things, and then at the end of John's gospel, so you have the thing where he kind of breaks the fourth wall there when he introduces himself, like I myself have seen these things and I'm swearing to it, and you got the blood, the water, and the spirit, the 2 or 3 witnesses, and this is this is the foundation of all of law. So like whenever the Christian nationalism debate is a little bit infuriating to me because I it, you're gonna love this. I think the Reformed are right about this, presuppositionally, because you're using your brain that God gave you to make any kind of argument. So to argue outside of that, you're automatically entering the realm of irrationality.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I think then another thing is you're uh, related is that you're denying that God works through means, and the means by which He brings peace in the world is through your rationality, is through your exercise of godly wisdom, right? God uses those means, right? So if you're going to like say, let's wait for God to do what He wants to do, well, how does He do it? He does it through Christians, you know?
Yeah, that's a sort of defeatism. It's like let's just wait and see what God's going to do. Well, how does how does God work in human history?
Right.
Ay, ay, ay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So I mean, no, this is good though, because like it's the Bible as constitutional, not just for a society, but for all of reality, right? The Bible is the constitutive document for all of reality. It tells us what is, which is that's a great way to think about it because it's not merely um, a fable or a book about morality that tells you what's good, but it actually says what is. And that distinction about like the Torah has always been helpful to me. It's not just so many right and wrongs, do this, don't do that, but it's describing the design for things. This is how God built the world to be.
Oh, good. Yeah. I I meditate in your Torah day and night, and that actually brings you closer to reality.
Yeah, yeah. And think about how valuable that is. Don't you think you could describe the misery or dismay that people experience? There's all kinds of other terms we could use. The disorder, the dysfunction that people experience in their lives. They're all because because they are deviating from reality, right? They're off the track. The train has gone off the rails, and what brings you back is meditation on on the Torah. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, I think we gotta have the reason conversation more and more. And I know what Luther was saying, but it's done a lot of people a lot of damage whenever they hear Luther say that reason is the devil's whore, right? Is that what was the language he called it?
Yeah, yeah, something
Um,
like that.
something like that. And you can understand he's making a argument against rationalism. On the same hand, though, you can't mean that all reason is bad, because what does he say in the first article of the Creed? Right, I believe that God has given me my reason and all my senses. So it's got to be a misunderstanding of reason. What we're arguing for is that not believing in Jesus Christ is inherently unreasonable, because hey, you believe in objective justification, right? Jesus Christ died for not only us but for the sins of the whole world. First John. So if you believe it, you're actually in step with reality. That's the reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, the fool says in his heart there is no God, and by extension, the fool says in his heart Jesus didn't die and rise. And also the fool says in his heart that wouldn't be good for me to receive those gifts. What an unreasonable thing to say. Here's everything you need for your life. No, I don't think that'd be good. That's pretty unreasonable.
That's right.
So now, help me out though. Help me contrast that, because the exercise of reason is fraught, and I'm thinking about like Saul when he undertakes to offer the sacrifices when Samuel had told him to wait. So
Hmm.
it's some modicum of reason that says, look, sacrifices need to be made. Samuel said he would be here, but there must be some sort of, maybe he got caught in traffic. There's something happened. And so we can't go into battle without making the sacrifices. And what he's doing is he is like kind of at face value is he's not merely obeying, right? He's not merely obeying, which he should. But also um, he's making himself lord over even the like kind of the economy with which God has ordered things, right? He thinks he understands the economy better than God does.
Yeah, so he's made himself the logos. So he's denying the logocentricity of God's word, which is the definition of reason, and substituting his own sinfulness for it.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Okay, interesting. So, did you have more about genre? What's your favorite genre in the Bible?
Oh, well, gospel, which would be kind of narrative, but it's a blending of everything. I mean, we got four legal documents, so the the Bible supersedes its own requirement of two or three witnesses in Deuteronomy 17 and 19, and gives us four witnesses. So it's like
Do
it's
you
truer than true.
speaking of that? Do you think that the 66 books of our Bible correspond to the 66 people that Jacob brought with him to Egypt?
It's a nice argument for the Protestant Bible, don't you think?
Yeah. I only thought of it just now, and somebody probably has said it before.
No, that's really good. Now, of course, how we get to that number, it's like um, you gotta do like splitting with First and Second Kings and First and Second Samuel and stuff like that. But
But you have to do the same thing with the genealogy, with the list of names in Genesis, right? They
that
don't add up.
what well, yeah, we'll get there. What's exactly the math? I mean, Moses is pointing it out on purpose because he wants to us to dwell on those numbers. That's good. Well, let's start there. So we'll start at the end. I mean, so you got two numbers that pop out at the end, 66 and then 70. So why does he
Yes.
point out 66?
Let's see here. I'm trying to find a spot. And all this is verse 26. All the persons belonging to Jacob came to Egypt for his own descendants, not including Jacob's sons' wives, were 66 persons in all. Um, so my first instinct is that um, the number six, of course, is the the sixth day, the number of a man, right?
Yep.
And so there's something here descriptive of um, the genealogy through Adam, right? Adam created on the sixth day, and here's the continuation of Adam's race.
If you double it, right, it's a perfection. So we saw that with the dreams, right? When God doubles the dreams, he's determined to, like, it can't be changed. So it's a
Yeah,
perfection.
yeah, sure. And 70, of course, is Sabbath. Sabbath times 10, right?
And Genesis 10, that's the
Yeah,
table of
table of nations.
nations.
Right. So is it a contrast between? So you get this. You often get this contrast between the number of God's people, the land, and then the number of the sea, the nations. And the nations are 70. The nations are the four corners of the earth. The nations are that focus. And then the God's people is a different kind of a number. But here it's going like if six is operative there in verse 26, that's taking us back even further to creation, and not just like, you know, covenant people, non-covenant people, but like the whole world. And then here are the nations within the world.
Hmm. Yeah, so this is the ideal people of God, 66. And then 70 is I read it as they're conquering the world.
Sure. And just lest anybody think that these are pie in the sky kind of contemplations, Jesus legitimizes all of this with the feeding of the 5,000 and the feeding of the 4,000, where you get 12 baskets of leftovers and 7 baskets of leftovers, right? Like the significance of these numbers is profound.
And what kills me is he asks the disciples after both miracles,
Right.
after he's like, how many baskets were left over after the feeding of the 5,000? It's like, in case
Yeah.
you missed it.
Well, and then he concludes that with, "Do you still don't understand?
Right.
You."
It's like, we forgot to bring sourdough. No, no, beware of the leaven. I was thinking about this with salt as well. So it's like, you can't see leaven either, right? It just
Yeah.
grows.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I mean, so yeah, you got 66 people. Well, what's that in comparison to all of Egypt? And yet,
Yeah.
what's their numbers by the time they exit? I mean, is it a million?
600,000
Oh,
men when they exit.
okay, yeah, yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. Right. East, indeed. Hmm. And salt is a great uh, is applicable too, because of course they s- they start by seasoning Egypt in a way that is fruitful for all of the land,
Hmm.
but then at some point the flavor becomes distasteful. Uh, the the Egyptians don't like that savor anymore.
Oh, and it starts here. God's using it for good. The fact that they're shepherds, right?
Hmm.
So God's using their own prejudice so that He can get the salt in the land, so that they can get the best. But that's gonna turn real quick.
Yeah.
I was
Hmm.
thinking about 66 also with the Beatitudes. So, highly structured, 36 words, and Beatitudes 1 through 4 and 5 through 8. Of course, 36 is 6 squared. And so there's and that's all the blessings. So it's this idea you're returning to creation, and the first thing God does with Adam and Eve is he blesses them. He blesses creation. So this is kind of he's clearly blessing these people to be the people he meant them to be, that's what blessing is, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's like glory. Glory is doing what you were meant to do. Blessing is receiving what's in accord with your nature. Yeah.
Hmm. Anything more on the numerology?
So eh, I'm I only read carefully enough to remember that there are some troubles here though with actually counting these people, right? Getting 66 persons. Um, is that the number of names that precede in those verses?
Well, okay, so if you do the math, I didn't actually count the names, but so it's what's interesting is it's name arranged by mother.
Yeah.
Um, so you got 33 plus 16 plus 14 plus 7, which I believe is 66.
Okay.
Um,
So you have to do you have to do like, do you or do you not include and Onan? Or do you not include Dinah? Like you have to make some decisions there, I
oh,
think.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would I would include and not include it to make the math work.
Yeah. Yeah. And okay, so this gets to my question concerning like what the Bible is attempting to do, what Moses is attempting to do. Similar to like Genesis is not quote unquote a science text. So it seems to me that there are two kind of default possibilities for what we would attempt to do in writing this kind of a genealogy. One, we would technically list every descendant, and it would be precise. That's one possibility. Another possibility is that we would kind of manufacture. No, sorry, not manufacture, but we would stumble upon numerical significance that corresponds to the precise data, right? So the precise data has numerical significance, and therefore, like the light bulb goes off, and we say, "Oh my goodness, you know, he had 7 children, and that's an amazing thing," right? But what Moses seems to be doing is very much like what Matthew is doing in his genealogy, where he is making choices. He is selecting names, um, selecting names in his genealogies in order to bring about these numbers, which at face value seems to me duplicitous. Like, well, you that's cherry picking. You can do whatever you want, right? Like, I mean, you could say whatever you want. Then why? How come you get to do that with these numbers, right? Obviously, that's not a fair indictment because he's not a moron, um, right? But How would you describe what that is? You know, like uh, telling the story in such a way that the numbers stand out, even if the numbers aren't necessarily intrinsic to the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's Heil's Geschichte, isn't it?
Okay. Okay.
Well, okay, we do the same thing. Um, quite famously at the Council of Nicaea, right? There's 318 bishops there,
Okay.
but then there's debate if there actually is. But the people who gathered at Nicaea quite clearly wanted it to see as we are rescuing Lot. So
Okay.
we're the new 318.
Yeah.
And then same thing with the Septuagint. I like I don't know. Was it actually 70 who
Yeah.
translated it?
Did you just not count Frank, who was sitting in the corner because he was kind of dozing off a little bit?
That's yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have this innate desire to like draw boundaries around things and actually count things, but there are always kind of wishy-washy moments where like, do you count this? Do you count this or not? Here's an example where Little Rock is breaking records with the snowstorm that we had now more than 2 weeks ago, with the duration of time that snow is on the ground in Little Rock. So the longest was like something like 27 or 28 days, 100 years ago. But second place was like 12 days, and I think we beat that. But as I was driving with my kids yesterday discussing this question, the question was like, well, what constitutes snow on the ground? Is it an inch of snow coverage in this one spot? Is it a pile of snow still unmelted? What constitutes snow on the ground? Well, there's some line, and it can be kind of arbitrary, and it is okay because it still indicates the duration. It's like, well, you know, there's no precise answer here, but that's okay because the meaning, the significance stands, right?
It's kind of like Wisconsin claiming that they have more lakes than Minnesota. You know about this?
Yeah.
They they redefined what a lake was. So their definition of a lake is smaller, but then they don't fit that definition to Minnesota's geography. Because if they use the same definition that they're using for a lake, Minnesota's got tons more lakes than Wisconsin, but they're using Minnesota's 10,000 lakes, which are bigger, and they're tiny little ponds to say we got more lakes. Come on, guys.
So there is a way to do it that is unfair, manipulative, gaslighting, right? There's a way to do this that works in that way, where you just like you're arbitrarily moving the goalposts, right? But what Moses is doing is by under inspiration of the Holy Spirit is he's saying, no, if you want to understand the genealogy of Jacob, you need to know who these people are, and you need to see the significance of it, which we can describe numerically as well.
Right, and this is probably sticks out the most with Benjamin. Do you see how many sons he had?
Yeah, yeah,
He's got
and oh,
10
go ahead.
sons.
Yeah, and there's this plurality in his sons too, right? Because Muppim and Huppim, at least, those are plurals. How many Mupps did he have?
Oh,
Is this describing a whole tribe, right? Because I mean, you wouldn't name your kid Penelope's, right? But you would talk about maybe Penelope's tribe, right?
Every time you pluralize something that's not meant to be plural, I think of Nacho Libre.
I never saw it.
Oh
I
my
probably
gosh.
should.
Great religious movie. I know you're fasting from everything secular, but this is a movie about a guy who works, um, for a convent or whatever. He helps out orphans. Very very religious movie, and they're talking about the food, and he goes, "I've had diarrhea since Easter's."
Speaking of which, I do have to say I didn't get an email. I don't get emails, but I did get verbal feedback that was with just alarm that you've never seen Rocky. So you might need to remedy it. I'll watch Nacho Libre. You watch Rocky, and we'll remedy all of this.
Okay. Yeah. Like what streaming service do I watch this on? I'm not buying the.
You have to
I'm
borrow
not
it from the
buying the
library.
box.
Borrow
That
it from the library.
I'm not. I'm on board with that. Where
Yeah,
to stream? No, this is a very. Oh, you gotta buy it. Okay, is it on is it on Netflix? That's a.
might
Oh
be.
no, not available to watch in your country. Okay, well we'll just get a VPN or something like that. That's fine. I might have to rent it for $2.99. That's
I'm
that's fine.
putting
Did you
Nacho
see?
Libre on my to-do list.
Okay, I I appreciate that. These are cultural milestones. We're doing
Yeah,
it for the sake of the gospel.
that's right.
What is
Okay.
what is being all things to all people mean to you?
That's so good. Uh,
Okay, listen.
hey,
Thank you for the feedback.
yeah, yes, it was very welcome. Now, there are other numbers here, other significant numbers, in Genesis 46. Did you note that you kind of have near the center Gad, whose name counts up to 7, Gimel and Daleth, that's 3 and 4, 7, and he's got 7 sons.
Oh.
And if I'm not mistaken, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he's the 7th son listed. It's kind of like a lot of 7 right there.
Are you are you on this what's the name of that numerology guy who counts all the letters and all the word counts? You sent it to me a year
Yeah,
ago.
I know. That's not where I got it from. I got
I,
this one from Peter Leithart, who was drawing the connection between this and Matthew's genealogy, where David, the sum of David's letters, which is at the center of Matthew's genealogy, corresponds with the 14s that are going on in Matthew's
oh,
genealogy.
no, that's great. Well, 7 and 14, Bilhah has 7 sons and then Rachel's got 14. So
Yeah.
you got that as well. So it's all over the place. There's lots of connections with Matthew's genealogy. Like did you notice the women who were mentioned?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The woman from the land of, or the Canaan, the son of a Canaanite woman, right? You got that one.
Yeah,
Who else
yep.
do you have?
And then so
Dinah.
you've got Dinah in verse 15 and then Sarah with an E in verse 17. And I think those are the only two like women that are named. You've got the Canaanite woman, which is obviously a breach of what God commanded her to do, but she's not named. But just like in Matthew, Bathsheba's not named. She's just described as the wife of Uriah.
Yeah. You have this the potential forward looking thing with the sons of Judah, because is he the only one who has grandsons listed, right? The sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamul.
Hmm.
And doesn't Hezron marry Rahab? Is that right? Let me just double
Yeah,
check here.
I know he's that's the line to which David goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, Perez fathered Hezron. Hezron fathered Ram. Ram fathered Minadab. Yep. Yep. So notable that Judah gets his grandsons listed, and that is that Hezron's line is identified there.
Did you do any looking into this Sarah listed in verse 17, the
No.
daughter of Asher? Okay, so this is a little bit wild. So I think, is it the Midrash? They speculate about her because there is somebody by the same name mentioned in Numbers 26 verse 46. That's Moses' census, and she's the daughter of Asher.
Yeah. So she's
And
like crazy old.
right. So the speculation is, and I like it. So she's the continuity between this first generation that came into Egypt and then the Exodus. And then according to like Jewish myth, she knew exactly where the bones of Joseph were buried. So when they go and gather them up, she's the one who identifies it, so they can eventually put it in the ark.
So here's something that might lend some more weight to that too, is the significance of the fact that it's Anna of the tribe of Asher
Oh,
in Luke
yeah.
chapter 2. I always wondered what's going on with Asher there. But of course, that's the first connection, is if Asher's the one who's got a daughter named. Um, so Anna lives in the spirit and power of Sarah. Kind of
Yeah, and
interesting.
the numbers, right? 12 times 7, 84.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really,
Right. Mm,
yep.
mm, mm.
That's really, it's really good. And apparently the other legend was that she played the harp for Jacob when news of Joseph being still alive reached him, so that he wouldn't die.
Huh. That's nice.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean,
It,
not
it's the
not in the
Midrash,
Bible,
so
but yeah. So take or leave it. Mostly leave it, but it's kind of fun.
yeah.
I like this. You can call it a mythology or like building off of. I have a strong distaste for historical fiction. Like I just can't get into it, and maybe I'm just prejudiced. So maybe you should talk me into it. But taking these true stories and then building like a lore around it, as long as we understand what's canon and what's not. So okay, this is big nerd alert, and I didn't read a lot of these, but are you aware of like what happened in the Star Wars universe?
No. No idea.
So again, I'm not a super nerd. I'm just aware of this because I have super nerd friends. You've got like canon Star Wars, and then you had all these bunch of books that people read or wrote, that were about all these characters and giving them their own backstory. And for a while, those were accepted as canon. But then when Disney bought Star Wars from George Lucas for $1 billion, they said all of that stuff that was written, that's called legends now, and it's not canon. And so Disney rewrote the canon. And of course, what happens when you rewrite the canon? You get the abominations of movies 7, 8, and 9.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is like it's best to just leave these legends and be like, oh, this is kind of fun, and not go the not Disney ruins everything.
We should get a Disney apologist on here. Somebody could explain to us what why we should be fans of Disney. But
No, no. A while ago, I said there are certain people I wouldn't have on the podcast, and I was speaking about Disney apologists.
it's funny because I know some personally, and they would be very happy, I think, to share their insights. So
Okay,
maybe we'll have
fine.
to change your
Okay,
mind.
you've changed. Okay, I'm reasonable. That's fine.
My main beef with Disney is the whole do you and ignore your parents. The theme of basically every movie.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that really goes against your motto of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Is it
Right.
7 disciplines?
It's at least 70 times 7 disciplines.
Kids, your memory work this week is to say discipline 70 times to me.
Write it on the board, please.
Yeah.
70 times.
Oh, that's good.
Why did things go? Why did things go so badly for those sons? Because they disobeyed.
That's right. There's the joy-filled David Buchs that I love and cherish.
You ever think about? You ever wonder what your kids are going to say about you when you're an old man? Um,
Yeah,
so
I
this is
do.
making me
Yeah.
think, because I was just talking with a guy yesterday who was describing to me how much he admired his father, who was a farmer, and kind of retrospectively realized how his father modeled for him um, humble patience and reception from God, which you must do if you're going to be a farmer and not lose your mind, because like you don't know when it's going to rain, you might lose an entire crop to hail, right? And his dad was kind of like not despairing, not nihilistic, but just like, well, God's the one who's going to decide. Um, and that's what he remembers about his dad. And I was like, man, I hope my kids think things like that about me when they're older. Related also, I saw this meme. You'll appreciate this. Sam Darnold, here I am telling you something about the NFL, had 5 long-term goals apparently when he was a kid. And they were these: 1, attend the University of Southern California. 2, become a sports broadcaster for ESPN. 3, become a father. 4, never drink or use drugs in his life. And 5, be remembered as the nice one. What a great guy. You think that
And,
that's true?
oh, that's great. This is Solomon. So you'll notice winning the Super Bowl is not on that list, but
Not on that
God
list.
God God rewarded him with that anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I
there you go.
I was thinking about the wisdom of this. How much of life is like focusing on the process rather than outcomes?
It's got to be, right? And that's the wisdom I keep hearing from people who are successful and haven't squandered their success. Is like you have to learn how to enjoy putting in the reps and not be looking constantly at the outcome.
Because how much of your life is out of your control?
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking that just this morning in terms of raising kids. Um, I could see how easy it is to kind of slip into a fantasy about a time when um, when you gain independence from the care of your children, right? Especially when it's particularly onerous, like when they just like when they're young, when they're really little and they require all your attention, or when whatever, at various points, kids require lots of attention, and you can see how easy it would be to slip into this fantasy about independence. You know, boy, it'll be great when they're all out of the house and I don't have to, and then we can kind of enjoy each other, right? Well, that's it's so sad because the joy is in the raising of the children. The joy is in the attention that they require, which God is kind of demanding of you.
No, that's really good because if you're always longing for a different time period, when you get to that time period, you're going to long for something else. There's a good
That's
there's a good
exactly
movie
right.
about this. It's a Woody Allen movie, Midnight in Paris. Have we talked about this on the podcast?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's pretty good. It's Owen Wilson, and everybody's longing for the golden age, and then like they actually get to experience it, and they realize, oh, like these people were just as miserable as I was. So
Mm,
it was a nice message. I find the same thing with people who are always staring at their phones, like in whatever
mhm.
social gathering. Because what you're saying is, I'd rather be somewhere else. But then when you're actually there, you're saying this. You're saying the same thing. Like you're never happy where you are.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. This is a fundamental problem. There's like all of these chemical, psychological things behind it too, right? Like the dopamine thing. We are so conditioned by the inputs that we have um, uh, to chase dopamine rushes, and especially things that don't require labor. Like spending time with people is a leisurely activity, but it actually requires more work than most people are willing to put in. Right? Like because you have to do your part in a conversation, right? And if you don't want to do your part in a conversation, then you're not going anywhere, right?
Yeah, I that's precisely right. Aristotle has a lot to say about this in his book on rhetoric, when he's talking about like insulting people, and one of the ways you insult people is to just like not pay them any attention.
Mm, mm, yeah,
What a
You're not worthy of my attention.
right. What a slight. Hey, speaking of the Super Bowl, did you watch it?
I watched parts of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. It, the game was awful. It was two years of bad Super Bowls in a row, but that's fine. What I want to talk about though, there was this commercial about Lay's potato chips. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't.
It was a potato farm, and it was mushy gushy. It hit you right in the feels about uh, dad and daughter growing up and all the memories of having this potato farm, and then it culminates with him handing her the keys to the farm.
That's sweet.
I I like these things.
Yeah. I'm
I'm a big
impressed.
sentimental.
I'm impressed when a commercial can accomplish that. I mean, that's a very short amount of time to tell a story like that, you know?
Yeah, well, and the Budweiser commercial was great about the
The
horse and
eagle.
the eagle. Yeah,
Yeah, I did see
that
that
was
one.
I've
I thought
I've
it was a
never been more
duck at
proud.
first, and then I was really confused. It made a lot more sense when it became an eagle.
I love America.
Did you watch the TPUSA halftime show or Bad Bunny?
No, I had to explain to my father-in-law what was going on with Bad Bunny, and the
Okay, so
problem was
you needed the illustration by watching the halftime show. Yeah.
yeah. So we watched it, and the problem is I took Spanish in high school, but I didn't know what was going on, which is fine. I'm fine with being culturally educated. That's good. Whatever. So I don't have an opinion on it because I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, it seems like there were at least I didn't watch it. Um, not out of principle. I just didn't watch it. um, it seems like there were two things going on. The one was the language thing and like you know internationalism versus America. You know, 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. This year.
Well,
Um,
they did the big thing for that pregame,
yeah, right. That was
and,
that's
and
impressive. Seeing those bombers, man, that's
yeah,
cool.
that was great. Well, and it's really funny because like, and I just don't know. I don't want to get into the culture war stuff because I just don't know what's going on. But Puerto Rico is a part of the United States.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I think that there was something bigger that caught my attention more, which was the fact that he often wears women's clothing. Is that a thing? I don't know.
Well, I need to go check the source on that. I was reading about that, but he didn't wear a dress. He wore a nice looking suit. I don't know if it was just play pretend, but apparently a man and a woman got married. But I don't know if that's real. That might have just been a skit. But
Okay.
that was what. So I I didn't do any research. I haven't read any prominent Missouri Synod blog writers about why I should have hated the
Yeah. So
halftime
you
show this
don't
year.
you don't yet know what to think about it because you
Yeah, no,
haven't
I
been
need to be I
informed.
need to be
Yeah.
told what to think. Yeah.
Yes.
Here's a good topic. Like you don't need to have an opinion on everything.
That- that's certainly true, and you don't need to share your opinion with everybody either.
That's also true.
That's going
That's
to be one of my first little videos that I'm going to produce about the Proverbs. Did I tell you about this? Things they don't want you to know about the Proverbs, and that's going to be one of them. Um, you don't have to say everything you think. Things they don't want you to know.
oh, that's great. This is a great business idea. You just print a bunch of proverbs and then the company is things they don't want you to know.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
That's
I've
creative
already got
marketing.
a mock up. I'll send it to you. It's gonna be lit.
Oh, well, now that's just copyright infringement for the Lutheran Institute of Theology. So your whole life's an advertisement, and I don't know
It's
what you're
true. Yeah.
advertising, but
I don't know. Might be various. I know things that I value. So
yeah, this Yankee candle is, oh man, this is delicious.
you you and Bed Bath Beyond. Did I tell you this? I mean, we're so far afield right now. We had a charge on our credit card for Bed Bath and Beyond, and I saw it and I thought my wife stopped at Bed Bath and Beyond and bought something. My wife saw it and she asked the kids must have been around and they said, "Oh, I bet Dad stopped at Bed Bath and Beyond and bought you something." And I was thankful she asked me about it because neither of us had stopped at Bed Bath and Beyond. So we assumed it was, we realized probably a fraudulent charge right away. And so I went to the credit card and I was going to look it up. And lo and behold, it wasn't Bed Bath and Beyond. It was Big Bad Breakfast, which is a restaurant in town. But the credit card had like inferred BBB equals Bed Bath and Beyond. But I thought about you the whole time, and I thought, man, I should go buy some Yankee candles. That's what I should do.
Well, so you're confusing Bath and Body Works with Bed Bath and Beyond,
Oh,
which
I'm
common
glad. I'm
misconception.
glad I'm confusing them. This
That's
is
that's my only recollection of Bed Bath and Beyond is the Adam Sandler movie Click. That's another mushy gushy sentimental movie about living in the moment. He gets a remote from Christopher Walken where he can like fast forward through scenes in his life which he doesn't want to live through, and he can like it's comical because he's got a volume control. So like if he doesn't want to listen to his wife talk, he can turn the volume down, and he can add subtitles and picture. So it's kind of funny. But the end of the movie is like he's fast forwarded through so much, and then there's an auto feature of the remote detects moments you don't want to live, and so it'll just automatically fast forward. And so he fast forwards through 20 years of his life without actually not wanting to. And then his daughter's growing up. He gets divorced. His kids hate him, and all this kind of stuff. And then the end of the movie is he gets another chance to actually go relive in the moment. So
Hmm.
I know this is mushy gushy, but that's a nice message, isn't it?
It is. It's a really important message. Yeah, that's true. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm just showing that I'm a millennial, and that's okay.
You are through and through. Do we need to say anything else about Genesis 46? Uh, tell me about Goshen. Why are we going to Goshen? Other than that, it's farmland that would suit the shepherds. Is there anything else? Any other significance to it?
I mean, it seems to be the fruit of the earth, right? Yeah, I didn't do any research on Goshen other than that. It doesn't show up in the Bible past Joshua.
I know, isn't that something? It's interesting, and maybe because it's superseded. I mean, it's kind of like it's a promised land, but it's a shadow of things to come, right?
Right. Well, what's clear is that God is using the land, because this is why the Egyptians are gonna end up hating them even more, is because they have the
Yeah,
best of the land. And
yeah,
that's as a reminder, like this is I sent a mental hymn, "Heaven is my home." I,
right.
it's simple, but it's a good reminder. It's like this isn't
Yeah,
forever. So Goshen's not permanent. You're meant to go to the land of Canaan, which was why Canaan is going to be mentioned here a whole bunch in the next
and
chapters.
that you get that captured in verse 30 with what Israel says to Joseph. The switch back and forth between Jacob and Israel is interesting. Here he's called Israel. Israel said to Joseph, "Now let me die." I mean, it's his song of Simeon, right?
Hmm.
Um, and what he's saying is, I don't actually need to live in Goshen. That's not my final resting place. Which is significant too, because the bones of Joseph are going to leave from Goshen, right?
Oh yeah. And this is a recapitulation then of Moses not being able to enter the promised land
Hmm.
either.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I made a note about Joseph riding a chariot, which of course is going to be reversed. Um, Here it's okay, but then you have drowned hard-hearted Pharaoh and his chariots into the sea, right? Song of Moses, Exodus 15, which is that's the introit for Easter Day, isn't it?
Mm, hmm. Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's pretty. And then the Book of Judges, of course, they're not able to conquer because of their faithlessness, but it mentions the chariots of iron.
Yeah. Right. Right. Is it just horses, or is it horses and chariots that are a snare to Solomon? The Egyptian horses are a snare to Solomon.
Oh, yeah, that's good. And I think they go hand in hand. So even if it's
I
not
think so
mentioned,
too. Yeah. Yeah. Why would you want to acquire Egyptian horses? Um, Unless they were going to drive chariots. Yeah.
no, I just want a Clydesdale.
Yeah. Me too.
Hey, anything grinding your gears?
I'm reading a really interesting book called The Age of Entitlement. I have to do it's going to require a lot more thought than I realized. I thought I was just going to kind of skim it, but it's really interesting, and it's kind of unpacking the history in America of well, it starts with race and then sex, dealing with like the effort to combat racism and sexism as historical phenomena. And what I love about it is that it is incredibly balanced. It's historical, but like bitingly historical. So it's a really good critical evaluation of the efforts to undo vile things, right? So we can agree that hating people because of the color of their skin is vile. We can agree that hating women and mistreating them is vile. But just because you agree that those things are vile doesn't mean that every effort to undo them is good and salutary.
Right.
And the argument of the book is that a lot of the efforts have been misguided, namely the application of the 14th Amendment, equal protection under the law, to um, problems in Jim Crow South, as well as sexism, um, has led to the application of the 14th Amendment to all kinds of sexual degeneracy in our world today. And I think that I think it's a really interesting argument. So it's like a federal approach to these problems is probably not gonna work. And this is related actually to I used that illustration from you can talk about this article, the Dare versus Mad article. I talked about that in my Bible study yesterday as the reason why Paul gives personal qualifications for the pastors is because he wants the parishioners to franchise. He doesn't want it to be a top down thing. Um, and like why my model as keeping my family in order, why that matters. It matters because you should want to imitate your pastor and implement in your home what he's doing in his home. Well, similarly, a top down approach to you know problems of corruption in people's hearts, um, without any element of persuasion, without any effort, without any cultural change corresponding to it, causes lots of trouble. And that's kind of the argument. It's really interesting. I have so much to learn. I have so much to learn about the history of these topics, and it's a lot of fun.
I can't wait to hear what you come up with. Sounds great.
So so say what I'm curious what your take was on that article. Say more about that, the New Yorker article.
Yeah, so this was a New Yorker article from the last couple of weeks. Um, it was using the examples of the two organizations that come out of the 80s, DARE, which is the anti-drug organization. Did you have any DARE programming when you were growing up?
Once in fifth grade, I think, a police officer came into our classroom. Yeah.
I and then MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and what were the words? It was organization and mobilization.
Yeah. So Dare was good at mobilization, and Mad was good at organization. Wait, those words are confusing to me because by mobilization it meant the thing happened. There were Dare programs in schools, right?
Right, right. So the easiest way to think about it is mobilization was you get people out there, so you get people on the streets to protest. Okay, okay. Pretty easy to do these days, right? You can get people to protest. The organization though is like this top down, and I read it as like actual education of like getting people to like what are they protesting?
Right. And so it's actually so that would be not top down. That would be kind of grassroots, right? So the reason why MAD succeeded is because moms in places were like, yes, we too would like to do this, instead of having somebody come in and say, you should or you must do this.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and that was because Mad succeeded, and then the statistic was like drug use was higher among DARE participants than among non-DARE participants.
This is going to be one of my illustrations for why outsourcing all catechetical instruction to the church is a bad idea, or expecting the pastor to like enforce something is it's going to be counterproductive.
Yeah, well, this is um because how much of the world's degeneracy comes from people who are quasi-affiliated with Christianity?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And it plays into this weakness of human nature that quasi affiliation breeds self righteousness. So it's like you feel like you're accomplishing something, but you're not actually. Right?
But the problem is you're grasping one thing to the
Yes.
detriment of everything else, and that
Right.
one thing actually does have power because it's rooted in truth, but you're divorcing
Hmm.
it from everything else.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
why this is why pastors' kids typically are either straight arrows or they're just wild as all get out.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember that passage from Paul Hensel's The Hardening? He talks about um, how uh, what's going on in the pastor's home is a sure sign of whether or not the pastor actually believes what he's preaching on a Sunday morning, something to that
Yeah,
effect.
yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
What else?
I
What else is grinding your gears? Go ahead.
well, it's taken me a long time. I I'm reading too many things because I like reading things with people, but it's hard work. I'm reading On First Principles by Origin, and I think we came up with a novel idea. I'm reading it with a guest on the show, Joe Mensch, and we're writing letters to each other after. So we're reading the same thing. Like it's about like 50, 60 pages a week, and then we take turns writing letters about about what we just read. And it's a lot of fun. Joe, I apologize. I've fallen behind because I was traveling last week. But that guy, every page, he's quoting the Bible, and sometimes he's got some really wild conclusions about it. But reading, like seeing the world through his eyes. So, for instance, he'll talk about the stars as having souls, and the reason he does that is because God commands the stars to do something. And he's like, the only reason God would do that is because they have souls. And he means something different by souls, but it's like a living, active, breathing universe, which is much more exciting way of reading the universe than like just being a dead place.
Yeah. Right. Ah, interesting. Hmm.
So that's been good. And then I got this introduction to the Church Fathers book written by a Catholic. So it's, Catholic apologetics all the way down, painting everybody as a Catholic for ever. I'm reading that with my vicarage supervisor, Mark Loader, and that's been fun. And then I'm finishing up The Idiot by Dostoevsky, and great book. And I'm making all these connections, of course, with Don Quixote. You ever read that?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, we've talked about it though, because it's very episodic in nature. I think, yeah,
Mhm.
you could pick out chapters. The idea is you got this person who's naive as heck, but lovable. But what happens when you insert that person into culture is he ends up getting destroyed and people taking advantage of him, which obviously is a Christological statement.
Yeah. That's good.
So
Hey,
that's what I'm doing, and Lent is fast approaching.
yeah. By the time this airs, it will be the week of Ash Wednesday. Then the following week, we've got a guest, a new acquaintance coming on, talk about the Bible. Be
Yeah,
good.
when this airs, it'll be Fat Tuesday.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, and I can't drink scotch with Bruce Timm this year because he's he started his fast early.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ah, bummer. That's
Oh,
fine.
oh, too bad. All right.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to hit stop.